Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and today I want to talk about organizing for success. And organizing for success in this video really has to do with really understanding what goes on in organizations as it shapes the right type, putting the right people in the right places, for a lack of better words. And I'm going to share with you some terms, hopefully, that will help you understand what organizations talk about and do in order to be more effective in maintaining market share and growing within their markets. So we're going to talk about some of the fundamental characteristics of organizational structure. We're going to talk more about four specific dimensions of an organization's vertical structure. We're going to talk about basic forms of horizontal structures of organizations and what's important for coordinating the work to get done, and we'll discuss how organizations can improve their agility through strategy, commitment to customers, and in their use of technology. So let's talk about some basic fundamentals of organizing. We know that a lot of companies have a CEO, and sometimes that CEO is also the president. So CEO, Chief Operating Officer, usually that is the boss of the president. Sometimes it's the owner who also happens to perform functions as a president. If there's a CEO, that usually means there could be different presidents of different divisions. And so there's a lot of different ways that organizations create what's called an organizational chart. And so usually there is a president that oversees directors or vice presidents. And there's a lot of different ways of doing it. For instance, you can have a president at the top, and that president may report directly to the board of directors. And sometimes if there's a board of directors, the organization board of directors is the ones who gets to choose the president. So there could be, under the president, several vice presidents. So, for instance, a vice president of finance, and vice president of R&D, and a vice president of marketing, and then a vice president of human resources. And there could be different divisions that report to the president, and maybe that's an operations manager that reports directly to the president. So organizations do a lot of different things with their organizational structure, and usually you see it as a pyramid where the president or CEO is at the top, and then you got different levels of the organization that perform specific functions, and at the very bottom you have the customers. Ultimately, the customers are the reason for the business, and the customers are the ones who are purchasing the products or services. Even in non-profit organizations that have similar structures, it's the stakeholders, who is receiving the benefits of what the organization is doing. And so that's what we want to talk about, is you got to have the right people in the right places doing the right things. It's kind of that simple. And so sometimes organizations are too top heavy. They've got too many different layers of management, and that causes problems. In the 1980s, GE was a Fortune 5 company, and they just had way too many different levels of management. And what they found is that when customers were unhappy with their product or service, people couldn't help the customers as effectively because they didn't have the right power to be able to make the right decisions, to be able to make the changes. And so hopefully you can kind of understand that if you have too many layers and people who make major decisions don't have the ability to communicate needs for resources or fixes, that can cause a lot of problems. So how an organization is organized really does matter. And so that's all about reporting structure. So you can have a mechanistic organization, so a mechanistic organization, or an organic structure. And a mechanistic organization is a form of an organization that seeks to maximize internal efficiency, and an organic structure is about organizational form that emphasizes flexibility. So let's go on and talk more about these two types of structures. Differentiation is important, and this is an aspect of an organization's internal environment created by job specialization and the division of labor. And then there's integration, and this is the degree to which differentiated units are put back together so that work is coordinated into an overall product. So the more highly differentiated the firm, the greater need for integration among its units. So let's talk about division of labor. This is essentially a term that we use that discusses the assignment of different tasks to differentiate people or groups, and then there's something that we call specialization, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a process in which different individuals and units perform different specific tasks. So within each organization's structure, differentiation is created through division of labor and job specialization. Division of labor means the work of the organization is subdivided into small tasks to be performed by individuals and units throughout the organization. Specialization means different people or groups perform specific parts of a larger task. The two concepts are, of course, closely related. Administrative assistants and accountants specialize in and perform different jobs. Similarly, marketing, finance, and human resource tasks are divided among their respective departments. Specialization and division of labor are necessary because of the many tasks that must be carried out in an organization. The overall work of the organization would be too complex for any one individual, so you have to have people who are specialized, and very often it's done through division of labor. What we call coordination, it's about integrating employees' efforts. And so if you think about what a coordinator does, they are the people who are really being able to help different parts of the organization perform a specific purpose in achieving the organization's overall mission. Many managers have what we call a span of control. And essentially, we're saying in common language, this is about the number of subordinates who report directly to an executive or a supervisor. There are narrow spans where it's in a tall organization with many reporting levels, and then there are wide spans within a flat organization with fewer reporting levels. So the number of people who report to a manager is an important feature of an organization's structure to consider. The number of subordinates who report directly to an executive or supervisor, that's span of control, and differences in the span of control affect the shape of an organization. Holding size constant, narrow spans build a tall organization with many reporting levels, and wide spans create a flat organization with fewer reporting levels. So the more people that obviously report to a supervisor, the more challenging perhaps a supervisor's job can be. And this is why I always emphasize it's about really making sure you are going through the process in the most effective way, really thinking about what that ideal candidate looks like, as I talk about in my human resource videos, and then making sure that they have the right resources. So you want to create systems for each people that report to each person that reports to you, so that you have less time that you're spending with each individual, and you're allowing them to make the best decisions possible. And so this really is about authority and delegation. So authority is about your legitimate right to make decisions and to tell people what they do. Responsibility is about a task an employee is supposed to carry out. Accountability is one of the most important considerations, and this is about assignment of new or additional responsibilities to a subordinate, and you're holding people accountable for accomplishing those responsibilities. And then there's delegation. And that's the expectation that employees will perform a job, take corrective action when necessary, and report their performance. So there are some advantages in delegation. It helps leverage energy and talent of a manager. It is about conserving managers' most valuable asset, which is time. It's about developing subordinates with managerial skills and knowledge. And it's about promoting subordinates with a sense of importance and commitment. So managers really must recognize how important delegation is. Delegation truly is important, as it helps employees develop. Subordinates gain an opportunity to develop new skills and demonstrate a potential for additional responsibilities and perhaps promotions. In effect, a vital form of on-the-job training that may pay off in the future. So make sure that employees who want to grow with the organization are being delegated to, and help them understand how important accomplishing organizational goals are, and help them understand why what they're doing makes a difference in the organization. And it really helps employees feel more committed. It helps them perform their tasks better when they understand how what they do makes a difference. And it's more engaging in creating perhaps and in creating more innovations for the organization. So delegations really have a lot of advantages. There's a philosophy called decentralization, and that's about spreading decision-making power. You can have a centralized organization, and that's a organization in which high-level executives make most of the decisions and pass them down to lower levels for implementation. And then you can have decentralized organization, which is an organization in which lower-level managers make the most important decisions. So ideally, decision making occurs at the level of the people who are most directly affected and have the most intimate knowledge about the problems that will occur. And this is particularly important when the business environment is fast changing and decisions must be made quickly and well. So let's talk about line versus staff. We often talk about line departments and staff departments. And line departments are units that deal directly with the organization's primary goods and services, and staff departments are the units that support line departments. As the tasks of organizations become increasingly complex, the organization inevitably must be subdivided and departmentalized. Line departments are those that have responsibility for the principal activities of the organization, and line units deal directly with the organization's primary goods and services. They're the ones that make things, sell things, and provide customer service. Staff departments are those that provide specialized and professional skills that support line departments. They include specialized units that have its own vice president, some of whom are vested with a great deal of authority. When accounting or finance groups approve budgetary activities, in traditionally structured organizations, conflicts often arise between line and staff departments. One reason is that career paths and success in many staff functions really depend on being an expert in a particular function area, whereas success in line functions is based more on knowing the organization's industry. So when line managers might be eager to pursue new products, staff, and customers, staff managers might seem like they're stifling those ideas with a focus on requirements and procedures. So let's talk about functional organization. A functional organization uses departmentalization around specialized activities such as production, marketing, and human resources. So a relatively flat organization where you have a purchasing department that reports directly to the CEO, the manufacturing department that reports directly to the CEO, a marketing department that directly reports to the CEO. So in a functional organization, jobs and departments are specialized and grouped according to business functions and the skills that are required, like, as I mentioned, production, marketing, human resources, research and development, financing, accounting, and so forth. So these are some basic changes that organizations make in order to be more efficient and effective in their reporting structures. So some advantages include economy of scale can be realized, monitoring of the environment is more effective, performance standards are better maintained, greater opportunity for specialized training and in-depth skill development, technical specialists are relatively free of administrative work, and the decision making and lines of communication can be more simple and clearly understood. So some divisional organizations truly must develop a customer focus, and so as organizations grow and become increasingly diversified, their functional departments may have difficulty managing a wide variety of products, customers, geographic regions. So in this case, organizations may restructure by creating a divisional organization, which groups all functions into single division and then duplicates functions across the divisions in an organizational chart. Each division has its own operations, marketing, and finance department. Separate divisions may act most as a separate business or profit center and work autonomously to accomplish goals of the entire enterprise. Some examples of how some tasks would be organized under functional and division structures include one type of formal organization. So some advantages include information needs that are managed more easily, people have full-time commitment to a particular product line, tasks and responsibilities are much more clear, and then managers can receive much more broader training. With matrix organizations, it could be the best of both worlds. Matrix organization is a hybrid form of organization in which functional and division forms they overlap, and managers and staff report to two bosses, a functional manager and then a division manager, and they create a dual line of command. So there are some advantages. Cross-functional problem solving leads to better informed and more creative decisions. Decision making is decentralized. Extensive communication networks help process large amounts of information. Higher management levels are not overloaded with operational decisions, and the resource utilization is more efficient. Some disadvantages, though, there can be confusion because people don't have a single supervisor. Managers who share subordinates may be encouraged to jockey for power, so conflict can occur. This can lead to slower decision making, and too much democracy can lead to not enough action. So there are always advantages and disadvantages. Some advantages of a matrix design should outweigh the disadvantages. So you can have network organizations that are built for collaboration. And so it really is important to understand the design, who manufactures things, who's doing the advertising, and then who's doing the delivering, for example. And network organizations generally have a flexible arrangement among designers, suppliers, producers, distributors, and customers in each firm. And then it's able to pursue a distinctive core capability, yet work effectively with other members of that network. So network organizations really are built on collaboration. A flexible version of the network organization is a modular network, and it's also called a virtual corporation. It's composed of temporary arrangements among members that can be assembled and reassembled to meet a changing competitive environment. Members of the network are held together by contracts that stipulate results, expected market mechanisms, rather than by hierarchy and authority. Poorly performing forms can be removed and then replaced. And the role of managers shift in the network from that of command and control to be more like that of a broker. And the broker manager serves several important boundary roles that aid networking integration and coordination. The designer role, the broker serves as a network architect who envisions a set of groups of firms whose collective expertise would be focused on a particular good or service. Process engineering, the broker serves as a network cooperator who takes the initiative to lay out the flow of resources and relationships and makes certain that everyone shares the same goals, standards, payments, and those types of things. And then a nurturing role. The broker serves as a network developer who nurtures and enhances the network, like team building, to make sure that relationships are healthy and mutually beneficial. Some common methods of coordination include standardization and formalization. When organizations coordinate activities by establishing routines and standard operating procedures that remain in place over time, we say that the work has been standardized. Standardization constrains action and integrates various units by regulating what people do. People often know how to act and how to interact because standard operation procedures spell out what they should do. For example, managers may establish standards for which types of computer equipment the organization will use, simplifying purchasing and training processes so that everyone has a common platform, and then it helps different parts of the organization communicate. To improve coordination, organizations may also rely on formalization. The presence of rules and regulations govern how people in an organization interact. Very often written policies regarding attendance, dress, how things are done, for example, may eliminate a good deal of uncertainty at work. And so very often people like to have things standardized. Coordination by plan and coordination by mutual adjustment are also important. By structuring the organization around differentiation, the organization is composed of different jobs and tasks, and the way that they fit into the organization chart, where managers need to consider integration and coordination. That way all parts of the organization are working together more efficiently. Often more differentiation within the organization can be more difficult to integrate different units. So managers use a variety of approaches to foster coordination among interdependent units and individuals. In some situations, managers might see that employees need to work closely together to achieve joint objectives so that they build mutual trust, train employees in a common set of skills, and reward teamwork. In other situations, organizations might rely more on individuals and unique talents and ideas so that they set up a flexible work arrangement and that it rewards individual achievements while encouraging employees to share knowledge and develop respect for one another's contributions. In general, coordination includes standardization, plans, and then mutual adjustment. Agility is important for a strategy for promoting growth. And so managers today really often place a premium on agility, being able to act fast, meet customers' needs, and respond to the outside pressures. They want correct past mistakes quickly to be fixed and prepare themselves on a daily basis for an uncertain future. They need people to respond to threats and capitalize on opportunities when going along, and being able to adopt agility. This really can help with organizations that are especially very customer focused and have a lot of technology. Strategic alliances are really important to consider, and strategic alliances is about a formal relationship for the purpose of joint pursuit of mutual goals. In a strategic alliance, individuals within the organization share administrative authority, they form social links, and they accept joint ownership. Alliances help build the organization to become a lot stronger. Not only can alliances enable organizations to move ahead faster and more efficiently, sometimes they're not only a practical way to bring in a variety of specialists that are needed for operating in fast-changing environments. Rather than hiring the experts who understand the technology and market segments for a new product, companies can form alliances with partners that have already have those experts on board. Organizations really need to be a learning organization, and people need to be highly involved. Being responsive requires continually changing, and that means learning. Some experts say that sustainable advantage is learning and really understanding that they must learn faster than their competition. And so learning organization is an organization skilled at creating, acquiring, and transferring knowledge and modifying their behaviors to reflect new knowledge and insights. So I know Dr. Peter Senge talks about it in his book, The Fifth Dimensions. So task forces, study groups, other techniques foster participation in decisions that affect the whole organization. So participants receive continual feedback regarding how they're doing and compared to the competition, and how effectively they're meeting their strategic objective. So total quality management is something that always must be considered, and that's an integrative approach to management that supports the attainment of customer satisfaction through a wide variety of tools and techniques that result in high quality goods and services. So having a focus on total quality management, or TQM, and it's about continuous improvement, which requires the organizations to sometimes have problem-solving groups, information sharing, cooperation across business functions and units. The walls that separate stages and functions at work must come down, and organizations must be able to operate more with a team-oriented focus. So if you want to have quality, people need to be focusing on quality and be able to communicate quickly with the other parts of the organization that help things to fruition. So lean manufacturing is another big topic in just-in-time. And lean manufacturing is when an operation strives to achieve the highest possible productivity and total quality. It's about cost efficiency and effectiveness. It's about eliminating unnecessary steps in the production process and constantly striving for improvement. Just-in-time, or JIT, is a system that calls for every department to make sure that they use much smaller lots, have smaller supplies on hand, and that they are quickly delivered to the next stage of production just as they are needed. So making the decisions truly in any organization can be a challenge. At the right level of organization, top, middle, And then first level, they should really consider who can make the best decisions and the quickest efficient decisions in the most effective way possible. Determining the size of each of the divisions of an organization should recognize pay and shareholders. Employees must know who they report to and who has the information that they need. Organizations need to make sure that they are attracting the right talent and then keeping them there and helping them grow with the organization. And so very often location has a lot to do with how efficient an organization is. So I've given you a lot to think about as it relates to organizing an organization for success. I hope that you've learned something in this video, and more importantly, I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you feel about it. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt. Thanks for watching.